Hi folks, this is Kelly. Today I'm going to teach you how to propagate hardwood trees or bushes that you might have in your yard. If you have something growing that you like very much and you would like to have more, then this process is for you. I tried it successfully for the first time last year on hollies. Today we're going to practice on a rhododendron that is really pretty. It's white with like a pink blush that comes from the inside. The supplies that you're going to need are a pair of gloves. You can also use garden gloves. Those are a lot heavier duty than just vinyl gloves. You'll need some potting soil. I make my own using perlite and moss, sphagnum peat moss mixed with water. The perlite is actually volcanic glass, which has been heated to the point that it explodes into the little white particles that you see in the soil. And this will provide good drainage for the plant that you're gonna start. You will also need rubber bands. You'll need 2 for each air layering that you do. You'll need a razor knife, aluminum foil. I use heavy duty because I feel like it works better and you're able to tighten it more compactly to hold the soil to the open area of the plant. And also saran wrap. So the process begins. Oh, one last thing. Rooting hormone. I've tried this process without rooting hormone, but I'm going to try it this year with. The first thing you want to do is put your gloves on. Get your razor knife. You probably should be cutting away from you, but I feel awkward doing that. And you cut away the bark, which is also called the cambium layer. I do about 2-inch sections, completely down to the white. And you repeat this process the entire way around the branch, being careful not to cut yourself. This is early spring right now. I think today is March 11th. I have done this process in the middle of summer with success. Last year, that's when I did it. However, it probably is most successful when done in the spring or done on a backside like a dark edge where it doesn't receive a lot of sunlight on your plant, because you don't want the area to heat up and the soil that you're using to lose its moisture while the plant is developing roots. Okay, that part is done. Now we're going to apply some rooting hormone all the way around to the open site. And I just dip my finger in the jar and pat it on. The white area should be a little bit damp for the rooting hormone to adhere to. I hear a lot of birds singing in the background. We had a lot of rain over last night, so there's probably a lot of earthworms for the robins. Okay, on to the next step. I take 2 rubber bands. You could use a pair of scissors for this, but to simplify it, I use the razor knife that I already have. And I cut one end so that it's just a strip of rubber. I usually lay them on my knees so that I don't lose them in a mess. Now I get myself a length of saran wrap, enough to go around the ball of soil that we're going to put on the open area of the plant. Okay, next I'm going to take one of the rubber bands and the end of the saran wrap, and I'm going to tie it back up against this little stick that sticks up. That way I know that I'll be covering the open area as long as I stay back that far, because I won't always be able to see as well. Whoops, I just folded that one instead of tying it, so let's retie it. I have used twine in this process, but I think that rubber bands keep it a little more secure and airtight. And I typically tie it twice. And these are the thicker rubber bands. Okay. Now I try to leave the closed area on the bottom and the open area on the top. Next, I'll get myself a nice handful. Your potting mix should be wet enough so that it will form a ball. So I put my left hand underneath the area that I'm going to layer, and I drop the ball of potting mix below it and kind of press it down the stem, down into it, and try to close it up as much as you can. The foil will hold it on there tightly, especially the heavy duty foil. It works really well for this process. Yes, this is a beautiful rhododendron whenever it blooms, but it is in an area that gets dappled sunlight, so that it kind of has grown leggy, and I would like to grow at least one more of these in my yard. However, I do have 2 other areas air layered that I did about a month ago. There's the other one. And I will probably wait at least one more month before I check them. But at this point, all of the leaves appear to be growing just as well on the air layered plant, or the air layered part of the plant, as the rest of the bush. So I'm taking that as a good sign that everything is working the way it should. Now I have it tied off tightly on both ends. This is still a little bit baggy, but this is where your aluminum foil comes in. You don't need a lot of it, but you want to make sure that you have enough. Again, going from the bottom, leaving the open area on the top, wrap it around your ball of potting mix. I'm going to put the shiny side out to reflect the sunlight away from this area so that it stays cool and damp, even though this area doesn't get a lot of sun. Wrap it around once, holding it tight, and then like a piece of candy, I'm going to tighten it on both ends to seal it up. And then over top of the open area of the stem, I'm going to make sure to really crush this down so that the potting mix is completely adhered to the bare area of the stem of the rhododendron. And that's it. Now in about 2 months, I'll come back and I will clip off this end, and there should be roots started in here, and I'll be able to plant that and have 7-inch tall plant with very little money spent. just pennies. So this is Kelly sharing what I know about air layering. Thank you for watching.